ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, September 26th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. It's our Friday night kickoff. We're getting you set for, of course, Marshall taking on Louisiana. Thundering Herd tomorrow, 5 o'clock airtime here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll have our kickoff preview later on this hour. We've also got high school football to talk about tonight. Spring Valley is going to be at St. Albans. That's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We've also got Cabell Midland on our website taking on Hurricane. That's coming up tonight as well. You can tune that in by heading over to WRVC.com, or you can check that out on our Facebook page. And we've got Greenup County at Ashland. That's over on our sister station, 97.9 The River. But it is a Friday before the start of hostilities, once again, between Marshall and Louisiana. So we're going to get that text line open early for you. So today's today. We all know it's Pick'em Friday. Okay, I just made that up on the spot, but that should be a thing. So what do you think's going to happen? We asked you who you think's going to win the game for the Herd. Today, I just want to know what you think's going to happen, period. Is it going to be like a 24-21 game? You know, what are your feelings on that? So we'll get that going. And again, if you've never been with us before, the text line always open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to have a lot of interesting games to talk about tomorrow during our pre- and post-game coverage. You know, we've got Kentucky and South Carolina. I think I'm taking South Carolina in that one. We've also got Ohio State and Washington. We'll probably know what that's looking like by the time we hit the air tomorrow. So I think I'll take Ohio State there. Utah at West Virginia. I don't know how to pick this one. I'm going to say West Virginia. It is at home for the Mountaineers. So I think I'm going to go with West Virginia in that one. And, of course, the Ohio Bobcats taking on Bowling Green, playing host to Bowling Green. So you don't have to go up to Bowling Green and play them. I'll take the Bobcats there. You know what? I'll take Morehead State winning at Presbyterian on Saturday as well. So there's a lot of matchups coming up tomorrow. We're going to be keeping an eye on. Of course, our main game will be the Herd and Louisiana. Also, we've got action coming up the rest of the weekend for you as well. And that includes the Bengals taking on Denver. That's going to be our Monday night game, 6:30 on Monday night. And you know what? That means we can carry on our sister station the Steelers and the Vikings, the international game. That's coming up on Sunday. And I'll tell you what, these international games, I had someone in the office say, it's American football. It should stay in America. Okay, I get that thought completely, but you think I'm complaining getting up at 9 a.m., watching a football game? Like, hey, sorry, no, got to watch the game first. It's on now. It's 9 a.m. It's 9 a.m. Wouldn't that be the best thing? Like if you lived on the West Coast and you wake up, you sleep in a little bit, you wake up and go, oh, well, can't do anything. Football's on. And you get to start your day with just football in the morning. You don't even have to go through all the pregame stuff. You can just wake up and you can have football. I would be all in for that. But it's actually going to be like a 9:30 start. That's going to be on NFL Network, and we've also got that on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We also had a good one yesterday. That was our Thursday night game. Seahawks got the win over the Cardinals, 23-20. Seahawks now 3-1. Cardinals are 2-2. But there's some good matchups this week on Sunday. I don't know what to do. I mean, I might wake up and watch a little of that Steelers game, but do I really want to watch the Browns and the Lions? I'll be rooting for the Lions. Do I want to really get up and watch the Saints and Bills or the Commanders and Falcons? I mean, none of these games are really speaking to me. The only one that actually interests me probably would be the Eagles and the Buccaneers. That's probably my favorite game. I'm rooting for the Chiefs over the Ravens, just so you know. And I'm rooting for the Lions over the Browns. And I will be rooting for the Vikings over the Steelers. So hopefully All of the AFC North teams can do me a favor and lose. And, of course, then the Broncos and the Bengals will round things out. And that's one of those weird, here we go again, 2 games. The Jets and the Dolphins. That is your ESPN game on Monday night. And then our game is going to be the Bengals and the Broncos, and that's going to be on ABC. Without Joe Burrow, does that game find its way on Monday Night Football on ABC? And hopefully the Bengals can bounce back from an embarrassing performance last week. Luckily, I listened to it. I wasn't able to watch it live. So luckily, I didn't get a chance to sit there and just watch it, because I feel like watching it as it happened would have been even more frustrating than what it sounded like. So we'll get your text coming up, and we'll do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 as the Herd getting set for Louisiana on Saturday. So we're asking you today on our text line, what do you think the score is going to be? Pick the score. It's real simple. Does the Herd win? Does Louisiana win? I'll be surprised if any of you take Louisiana, but we're going to find out. Also, later on, we're going to preview this matchup a little bit further with our kickoff. And all of that's coming up on today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
What if someone could tell you what pest control issues you are most likely to have at your house in the next couple of months? Basically, someone that has like a bug or rodent psychic. Wouldn't you want that same person to handle your pest control services now? That's what Patrick, Becca, and the whole team at K&B Pest Control can do. They can predict the future, and better yet, prevent it from happening at your house. Call them now, 304-523-4281. K&B Pest Control, they'll kill for your business.
This fall, let the Car Ferry bring a little magic to your driveway at Mark Porter Auto Group. With locations in Pomeroy, Jackson, Ohio, and Ashland, Kentucky. Want to shop 24 hours a day? Cozy up with a cup of cider and browse our full inventory anytime at markporterautogroup.com. Fall into a safe, reliable vehicle and let the Car Ferry guide you to Mark Porter Auto Group in Pomeroy, Jackson, and Ashland. Or shop 24/7 at markporterautogroup.com.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom, But a little over a year ago, we realized she couldn't take care of herself without our help. And well, how could I not be there for her? I had no idea how hard it would be, and just what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and, even for me, ways to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics that got me started, but also information about the hurdles I was facing in this new role. I could even connect with experts and hear from others who had been in my place. I know this road we're on isn't an easy one, but I'm really happy to have the extra help for her and for me.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. This message is brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive. Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're asking you, what do you think the score is going to be on Saturday between the Herd and Louisiana? Don't forget, we'll have that game for you at 5 p.m. It's going to be our airtime. I'm going to be down at Giovanni's 20th Street. So if you haven't had a chance to come down, this is a great time to do it. Of course, you can get their pizza specials. You can even watch the game if you want to camp out and get a table. You can do that. Giovanni's 20th Street. I'll be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow for our pregame coverage right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So with that said, time to take a look at tonight's games. We got high school action, Spring Valley taking on St. Albans. We're going to go on the air at 7 o'clock on that one. And Spring Valley, 2-2 right now. So not a bad start for Spring Valley. Going into a situation with St. Albans where I think it's going to be an easy win. They're going to pick up the win tonight. St. Albans is 0-4. And this one looks like it's going to be easy for Spring Valley. It hasn't been a good start for St. Albans. And then the other one we're going to keep an eye on is going to be Cabell Midland at Hurricane. And something's got to give here. Cabell Midland's 0-4. Hurricane also 0-4. So who wins? And you look at how Cabell Midland has lost. They got beat by Pikeville 38-7. And then Capital beat them 27-13. And then they lost against George Washington 27-12. And then this one was close because, well, it's going to be close. Cabell Midland and Spring Valley last week, it was a 24-20 victory for Spring Valley in that one. So that's where we're at with Cabell Midland. Hurricane, on the other hand, got crushed by George Rogers Clark, 42-7 to start things off. But George Washington got the better of Hurricane, 45-12. Parkersburg got the better of Hurricane, 45-16. And then Huntington just decimated Hurricane, 68-20. I've got a feeling Cabell Midland's going to pick up its first win tonight. That's my thoughts on that one. So that looks like it's going to be I'd be surprised. Hopefully it will be a good game, but I've got a feeling Cabell Midland is at least going to be maybe a 2 or 3 touchdown favorite in that one. So we're going to keep an eye on a lot of these games. And, of course, you can follow along tonight as we'll have Spring Valley and St. Albans starting at 7 o'clock right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So that's high school football on our airwaves. Tomorrow it's going to be the Thundering Herd and Louisiana. Kind of give you an idea of what it's going to sound like tomorrow when we take the airwaves at Giovanni's. It's time for our Friday night kickoff.
Ladies and gentlemen,
will you take your seats, please?
Here we go.
There's the kickoff.
Tomorrow, the Marshall Thundering Herd face Louisiana and Lafayette, a rematch of last year's Sun Belt Championship, a 31-3 Herd victory. Marshall is 2-2 after last week's comeback win against Middle Tennessee. Marshall trailed entering the fourth quarter before shutting out the Blue Raiders 21-0 down the stretch. Head coach Tony Gibson says that kind of finish can lift the team's confidence moving forward.
And, we never, ever lost confidence on that sideline. And, our kids just kept battling. And I wasn't even thinking that we're going to lose this game. We're going to find a way to win it, and the kids believe that, our staff believe that, and I believe that. And but it's really good for our confidence to know that we could score that fast. And they did some things to help us. I mean, they had some penalties that were big, and we took advantage of it. So. But again, just really proud of our guys for hanging in there.
Defensive back Cam Smith says the win also helped the team gel and start forming its identity.
That just really showed us, what type of team we got, as a whole. It was, like I said, we had the rain delay. The rain delay slowed us down. And, when the offense needed us the most, we came and showed up. And when the offense needed us, vice versa. They came, they came, we just helped each other. They came to play, they helped us out, we helped them out, and offense finished the ball with the last 6 minutes of the game, and that's what we love to see.
Quarterback Carlos Del Rio Wilson led the way with 4 touchdown passes and another score on the ground, completing 18 of 22 for 261 yards.
I feel very confident. I feel like I put in the work and the extra things that needed to be put in to get to this point, so I feel like since I did put in all that extra work, that I'm definitely confident at where I'm at right now. But I feel like there's definitely a lot more to improve on, and that's what we're doing. So I'm comfortable right now.
Offensive lineman Jalen Slappy says Gibson's halftime message was simple: play their brand of football.
He really didn't even say nothing. He really just said, just lock in, just calm down, just play our game. That's really all it was. We wasn't playing bad. It really was just really just missed tackles. And that was the emphasis of today. Missed tackling. So
Louisiana comes in 1-3 after a 34-31 loss to Eastern Michigan. Smith says the Cajuns lean heavily on a run game that averages nearly 200 yards per contest.
They want to run the ball. We watch film. They run a lot of gap scheme. They got some good backs, 7 and 3. So that's what we gonna stop the run. We just want to make the quarterback one-dimensional and throw him off, get him out uncomfortable. Just we know how type of defense we is. We aggressive. We gonna make him uncomfortable in that pocket, and we stop the run and just make him one-dimensional. We gonna be fine.
Del Rio Wilson says success for Marshall's offense will come down to movement and adjustments before the snap.
They're a very aggressive team. They like to rally to the ball fast, so I don't really want to say too much of what we're gonna do, but I think a lot of movements will help. Within our offense, a lot of motions, a lot of reads. Like I said most of the times before, with our offense, you got to worry about stopping the quarterback, the receivers, and the running back. So with that being said, I feel like if they rally to the ball, they're going to have to worry about the other things, So if we got a run game with the running back, they can't just worry about the running back. They're going to have to worry about me and then worry about the receivers getting the ball too. So I feel like that's where we kind of have our benefits.
Gibson notes that as defending Sun Belt champions, Marshall carries a target every week, and Louisiana will be ready.
I told the guys today, hey, the Sun Belt's starting. We are the defending champs. Really not us personally, but our school, our team. Some of the guys were a part of it, and we have to go out and defend it because there still is a target on us. Whether we have guys that were here or not.
He also warns that records don't tell the full story.
Louisiana's a good football team. They've lost 2 one-possession games. They could be sitting here very easily at 3-1 with their only loss to Missouri. They got 2 running backs that run extremely hard. Their offensive line is big and physical. And defensively, they're sound. They do some great stuff. They're long, athletic. They were, picked as one of the top teams in our league for a reason. And right now, obviously they lost their quarterback week 1. That hurt them. They've dealt with some injuries, I think. Some guys you see on film and they kind of disappear. So, and their coaching staff does a great job. Their head coach got a lot of respect for him, and there's a couple guys on the staff that I know. There's one guy on the staff, George Barlow, that I worked with. You guys probably know George, he was here. So, they've got good coaches, they've got really good players, and again, they could very easily be 3-1 instead of 1-3. Right now, we're not looking at records. Nobody cares about that. Sun Belt's starting. They're going to be amped up to play at home, night games. So hopefully it's a great atmosphere, and let's see what happens.
Slappy says Louisiana's defensive front reminds him of what Marshall faced against Middle Tennessee.
I
feel like their D-line is kind of the same. They got a lot of returners, really. They got their backers are really like SEC bodies, really. Long arms, 6'4", 6'3". So I feel like they do a lot of the same stuff, really. So it's going to be on the fact that we just got to play physical up front and really sustain blocks. I feel like that's the main focus this week. And just building off of last week. We don't want to have a week where last week we played excellent, defense didn't play that good. This week the defense played excellent, we don't play that good. We can't have that. So that was the emphasis too this week.
He adds that containing quarterback Daniel Beal will be critical.
Yes, big emphasis on that. We got to get him off his spot. Continue to get in the backfield. Pocket, when you get pressure on him, he like to run a lot. So when you get in the pocket, you got to have somebody spot ready to run to the ball.
Louisiana head coach Michael Desimo says preparation for Marshall is difficult because the Herds roster has been reshaped.
They did a really good job rebuilding the roster. Yeah, I mean, it's almost the whole roster is new. I think on offense, they got 3 guys that are back that were on the team. On defense, they have a couple guys that were there and left and came back. But most of them are all new. They've done a really good job rebuilding it. You know, they've got, you can see kind of what they're looking for in the way they build it. You know, they have big D linemen up front that are kind of 2-gap guys that are going to hold up blocks. Their linebackers are all similar skill sets. They move those pieces around a whole lot. Their safeties are kind of the same. They can do a bunch of different things. So, I mean, you can tell they built it the way that, you know, you can tell that they've got a plan, you know, and coach has been really successful as a defensive coordinator. Very, I think he's very methodical about what he wants to do on defense, and he's put those pieces together for it. Offensively, I think they've done a good job replacing playmakers with playmakers. You know, they've got good wideouts on the outside. Like I said, it's running back by committee right now. It's kind of someone different every week. They've played 3 quarterbacks, you know, but, you know, number 7 who played last week played really well, you know, ran the ball well, threw it well. So, you know, it's they've done a good job rebuilding it is what I would say.
Coming up after the break, we'll take your text at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Fall might be here, but you can still sip into summer with $3 margaritas at the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Our fresh lime margaritas are handcrafted to bring a burst of summer to your table, even on a crisp autumn day. Upgrade to mango, blackberry, spicy, or desert pear for just $1 more. Enjoy a round or 2 without breaking the bank. And pair it with the cafe's Baja Chicken Street Tacos for the perfect fall fiesta. Come to the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe on the corner of Fun and 3rd Avenue, downtown Huntington.
Earn more with 4 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Polka Valley Bank. Polka Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 4%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by one of the 8 Polka Valley Bank locations today. Polka Valley Bank, where relationships matter.
Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Polka Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Transform your outdoors all year long with Roberts Lawn Care and Landscaping. Family owned and operated, serving the tri-state area with expert landscaping services. From vibrant spring gardens to cozy fall patios and everything in between. Roberts specializes in sustainable landscaping that thrives through every season, residential or commercial. Roberts creates personalized solutions to bring your vision to life. Call Roberts today at 304-633-5822 because your dream yard deserves 4 seasons of care.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. AMDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive with our text line. It's open 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You know, we got NFL football coming up this weekend. Of course, the Bengals are taking on Denver Monday night. You got the Ravens in action as well this weekend. Texter said, Paul, sorry, I know your deal, but we have 2 players on the Ravens. Go Ravens. No Ravens. Absolutely. I appreciate the text. Thank you for that. First of all, look, I'm the biggest fan when it comes to Mike Green. I'm a huge fan of Mike Green. I'm angry that Mike Green was on the board longer than he should have been. I'm also angry that he did not get picked up by the Bengals. Very angry about that. Huge Mike Green fan. And, of course, you got Rasheen Ali. I got nothing but love for Rasheen Ali. I've got nothing for love for Mike Green. But they're wearing the wrong color now. Absolutely the wrong color. And so I will stand by my not rooting for the Steelers, the Browns, or the Ravens in almost any situation. Absolutely not. But, again, I hope Mike has a tremendous game, and I hope Rasheen, does well with the Ravens. I'm not rooting for former Marshall because there are former Marshall players on a lot of rosters. I'm not going to be that person that was sporting for the longest time the Minnesota Vikings jersey because Randy Moss had got drafted by the Vikings, and so you would have thought that Huntington had turned purple with all the Vikings jerseys that I saw people wearing. No, and I get it. Honestly, I completely get it because for a long time I would follow just my favorite player. Didn't matter the team. And so, a lot of kids would see Randy Moss and, they know, wow, it's Randy Moss. Man, he's great. And so they get the jersey and you follow Moss throughout the career. Look, I did it in hockey players to some degree. In football, I have a few favorite players, but I've always been a Bengals fan. And that's really the one thing I can say is as much as I love the Herd players in the NFL, that when it comes to Sundays, I've rooted against Chad Pennington, and I will tell him, hey, you're wearing the wrong color. I know it was green, but you were wearing the wrong color on that particular day. I had a couple people look at me like, what are you doing? Well, the Jets are playing the Bengals. I am not rooting for the Jets over the Bengals because Chad is the quarterback. I love Chad. He's great. He's done so many amazing things, still does amazing things. And I think the world of him. And I wish he would have had a longer career in the NFL. But on game day, if it was against the Bengals, I'm rooting against him. Any other team, I'm taking Chad. And for the most part, I'm rooting for Mike Green. I'm rooting for all the Marshall guys to have great careers in the NFL. But when they match up against the Bengals, I'm taking the Bengals. I'm staying loyal to my team. You got to respect that, right? Okay, if you don't, that's fine. I'm good with it. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line to be a part of the show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And it's the same thing. If players leave my team, still love them. I'm not rooting for them. I mean, be successful. Hey, have a great career. Fantastic. If they were one of my favorites, I would definitely pull for them in other situations, and I'll be happy for them. But if it's game day and you're going up against my team, you're wearing the wrong color. And that's just going to be my stance on all things, especially when it comes to the NFL and other sports. NBA, I'm a lot more flexible. If we had Marshall guys on every team, I would have a hard time rooting against any of them. Yeah, I'm primarily a Knicks-Laker guy. I kind of split my time 50-50. The Lakers have kind of given me reason more to lean back towards the Knicks. But if there were Marshall players all over the NBA, I'd just be rooting for them to have great games. Major League Baseball, if we start getting a lot of players come up from Marshall's baseball program and start making it through the system, and truly we're seeing more and more Marshall players in Major League Baseball, other than the times that they would face off against teams that I root for, yeah, I'm happy for them, absolutely, and I hope they do well. And honestly, if Mike Green's going up against the Bengals, I'm going to be rooting for him to have a great game, just not too good of a game. But I get your point, and I mean, for a lot of people, you don't have a team. You support the Marshall guys. But if you're a Bengals fan, you know who you are. I'm speaking to you now. If you're a Bengals fan, do you root against your team if there's a Marshall player on the other side? Be honest with that. Do you pull against your team because your college team has a player on the other side? How do you make the distinction? And that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texture says, Paul, I agree. On Sundays, they're wearing the wrong color. All right, I appreciate that. All right, going my way for this. But at the same time, I think Marshall fans have definitely a unique bond with the Marshall football players. And so you always root for, I mean, like, look, you think I wasn't happy for Vinny Curry? Absolutely. I'm always happy for the Marshall guys. And if it's a Super Bowl and there are Marshall guys on one side and not the other, you know I'm rooting for those guys. Absolutely. But if it's the Cincinnati Bengals in, say, the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and you look across the roster, and you know I'm talking about, I see him over there, Nazi. I'm not rooting for Nazi that day. I'm rooting for my guys. I guess I'm wrong. I don't think so. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255 to be a part. Texture says, I like your answer. I'm also a Bengals fan, went to Super Bowl 16. Excellent. Oh, wow. That is super cool. See, there you go. All right. It's a valid point. You know, on Saturdays, those are my guys. All of them. All my guys. On Sundays, they're still my guys, but if they're playing against my team, they're not my guys. And if they're in the AFC North, I'm hoping they have great days, but the rest of the team falls apart. They can have individual success. And maybe they can get traded to another team that I don't have to worry about every single week in the division. So I'll cut it off at the division. I'll root for them if it's, say, a division, if it's an in-division game. Which one benefits me as a Bengals fan is probably the outcome I'm rooting for. But if it's push, I'll take the Marshall guys. But no, you're wearing the wrong jersey. Sorry. Mike, you're great. Nazi, you guys are great. I'm taking my guys, the Bengals. 304-396-TALK is the text line, 304-396-8255. Do you take your team or your favorite players from your college team? NFL team or your favorite players from your college team on the other side? More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garden, 304-525-1116. And in Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100.
Hey, Tri-State. Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's.
It may be goodbye summer in Huntington, but it's hello deals here at University Ford. Tough F-250s now up to $6,000 off. Escapes up to $5,000 off for just $299 a month. Broncos up to $4,000 off. Plus grab 1.9% financing and up to 125% of KBB for your trade. New ownership, improved process, better deals. Better deals. Visit us at University Ford in Huntington or online at universityfordwd.com. See dealer for complete details on all offers.
What is that thing? Oh my, the two big red eyes and the wings.
Oh yeah, funky babies. Word is that the Mothman has been spotted getting his groove on at the Ritter Park Amphitheater. And did you know Funkafest has expanded to 2 days this year? That's right, Funkafest 9, The Funk Awakens, is October 3rd and 4th in Huntington, West by God, Virginia. 2 jam-packed interdimensional days of soul-shaking live music from Sneezy, Jocelyn and the Sweet Compression, the MFB, Jeremy Shore, Joey H, Massey, Chocolate Four-Wheeler, DJ Charlie Black, and more. Plus, visual art, live painting, fire and flow performers, craft beer, food trucks, funky yoga, disc golf, the Kids Corner, and that late-night silent disco on Saturday. Big love to our funky friends, The Loud, Bad Shepherd Beer Company, Bonhoff, Basque Smokehouse, Luna Pizza, Marshall University Sustainability Department, The Good Time Show, Vandalia Digital, Kindred Communications and Kindred Digital, and Graphic Solutions. Kids 12 and under get in free. Tickets at funkafest.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue on with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is still open. Brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. Let's go back to the text line. Good to see that I've got some allies out there today. Texter says, and this is about me taking Bengals players, the Bengals team, over anybody, including Marshall players that are on the other side. Texter says, Paul, my feelings exactly. Go Bengals. Hooday. I will also cheer for all Marshall players until they play the Bengals. Been a Marshall, Bengal, and Reds fan all my life, and I'm 68 years old. I appreciate the text. Thank you. I mean, this is my feeling about it, is there are so many Marshall players, and more they're making the NFL. You know, once upon a time, when this thing was starting to really go, and you started seeing that run of players making the NFL, it was kind of easy to go, hey, you know what, I'm going to root for the Vikings because Randy Moss is on the Vikings. So I'm going to get my Vikings jersey. Oh, hey, I'm a Jets fan now because Chad Pennington is on the Jets roster. And, I like Byron, but there was never a time where I could root for any team that he was on, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm hoping professionally, say, if they're in coaching and they're doing things like that, and I'm always happy for them and I'm always hoping that they do well. But it goes back to on Sundays, for me, that's the thing that I do for fun, is watch Bengals football. That's my entertainment. Yeah, I don't cover the Bengals in the traditional sense. I'm not a beat reporter. I'm not part of the Cincinnati media corps. We do cover them, we do talk about them, but I will be upfront and honest with you. I'm probably more of an enthusiast, a fan, when it comes to the Bengals because, well, on Sundays, that's my entertainment. Saturdays, I got to be more businesslike when it comes to the herd, and I think you all understand that. But on Sundays, I'm a big fan of the Bengals, and so I'm rooting for my team. I'm cheering them on, and yeah, if there's a Marshall player on the other side, I hope they have a great day, and I hope they stay healthy and they don't get injured, and I wish them luck. But at the end of the day, I'm going to root for my team because it doesn't matter. There could be players on the Bengals roster from schools I don't like, and I'm still going to root for my team. And I'll tell you, all you Steeler fans out there, and if you're a Herd fan and you're a Steelers fan, and you rooted for Ben Roethlisberger in any moment of your fandom, you got no room because that guy's terrible. He was the arch enemy of Marshall fans for years in the Mid-American Conference. I have never been a Ben Roethlisberger fan. Absolutely not. And would never root for him. See, that's the one thing. If he was drafted by the Bengals, I probably would have taken a hiatus. I've done that before. But yeah, I get the sentiment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Root for your team. Root for your players, root for your guys, support them. But at the same time, if they're in the wrong jersey color, they know the deal. Texter says, Paul, I think the Who Day started at Super Bowl 16 the first time I heard it, and I'm 83. Absolutely appreciate the text. I will defer to you on that because I'm not 83, and I wasn't there. I do remember hearing it almost all my life. So I don't know a time when it didn't hit my ears. I don't know of a time when people weren't cheering for the Bengals and saying Who Day. And so that's a big question. That's a good question. You know what? That's a Google question. Let's do that right now. We're going to Google when did the Who Day chant start. Let's see what it tells me. It'll probably give me some AI thing. When did the Who Day chant start? And AI is telling me 1981. Okay, so the Bengals started saying Who Day in 1981 according to AI during the first Super Bowl run. So yes, the texter is smarter than AI. I appreciate that. Thank you. So 83. That's a great run as being the Bengals fan. Maybe the Bengals can, in the next, 5 years, get us all a Super Bowl so we can all be happy with our lives and finally have one of those. That's what I'm absolutely rooting for. And if we can maybe encourage the Cincinnati Bengals organization to spend some more money, maybe some offensive linemen, protect the quarterback better, keep him upright and healthy, maybe the Bengals have a shot at it. Not sure how it's going to turn out on Monday. We'll see more. But I'm hoping the team answers. You get a really ugly beatdown, and I'm hoping that you come out and you answer and you take it out on Denver. And then if the Bengals are 3-1, I'll be okay with that. Because the whole premise was get off to a fast start and then work your way through the season like you usually do and finish strong as you usually do. The Bengals have always seemed to finish stronger under Zach Taylor than start. And I'm hoping this isn't going to be a reverse where they started fast with the 2-0 record and then, unfortunately, with Burrow's injury, started to kind of fall apart. But I think they've got a shot here against Denver on Monday. And we'll have the game for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And don't forget, if you can't watch the games, we'll always have the Bengals game live on the radio side of things. So we'll get more of your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, go to the thrift shop. You'll see a lot of Randy Moss jerseys. All right, appreciate the text. Which thrift shop, though? Is that true? Do you still see those? Do you go out in the thrift shop and you can see like an old Randy Moss jersey hanging on the rack. Are there some Chad Pennington Jets jerseys I can get as well? I probably would take a Moss jersey. Give me a Moss jersey for sure. Mostly Vikings, right? Because I saw those all over the place. For those of you that remember, Huntington streets were littered with people wearing the Randy Moss Vikings jersey, especially those first couple of years. People were all over that, and I'm cool with that. That was kind of a special moment in time. I didn't see that many Chad Pennington jerseys, though. Maybe I'm wrong on that, or I'm remembering incorrectly. But I definitely saw the streets of Huntington. I don't think I could go a block or two without somebody having a Moss jersey on certain days. So I'm curious, which thrift store? We can maybe make a run down, get some Randy Moss jerseys. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. Texter says, what, no love for Byron jerseys? Wrong team. Again, at one point he was a Steeler. Wrong team. Definitely never going to have one of those in my collection. If I collected jerseys, I would have to get a Byron Leftwich jersey that is not a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. I'd get a coaching jersey before that. I'd get a Patriots jersey, with Randy Moss. I would go Jags. I definitely would go Tampa Bay. I would go Falcons, but I'm not going Steelers. And now he's coaching, so, coaches don't get jerseys. So there's no Colorado jersey with Byron Leftwich on it. There should be. And you don't have Arizona Cardinals jerseys for coaches. But at the same time, I did root for Byron when he was a Jag, except when he played any time near the Bengals, anytime any of these teams played near the Bengals. And that was especially during those Pittsburgh Steelers years. If he was on the sideline, I didn't care. I'm not rooting for the Steelers. Texter says, I can't stand Ben Roethlisberger. Good. See, the Bengals fans are out today. Thank you. That was simple. That's probably the text of the night right there. I can't stand Ben Roethlisberger. We got to be extra careful because coming up later tonight, our guy Christian Palmer is going to be calling the game. Spring Valley at St. Albans. He is a huge Pittsburgh fan. I don't hold that against him, but he's a Penguins fan. He is a Pirates fan. He's a Steelers fan. If the Pittsburgh Metro had an NBA team, he'd be all about that one too. So we got to be careful tonight. We can't say too much about the Steelers. But, hey, that's our game coming up tonight. We've got Spring Valley and St. Albans. It's coming up at 7 o'clock right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Cabell Midland's going to be playing host to Hurricane. That's coming up on our website. Head over to WRVC.com. We'll have the video stream there. Also, you can watch it on our Facebook page. So we'll have all the links there. Just check it out. Best place to go always is our website, WRVC.com. And don't forget, we've got Greenup County at Ashland. That's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock on our sister station, 97.9 The River. And then I'm going to remind you one more time that we're going to be over at Giovanni's 20th Street for our pregame tomorrow, Marshall at Louisiana. It is a 5 o'clock airtime for our kickoff show. And then right after the game, it's going to be another late night. We'll be probably on the air at midnight, and we'll be doing our post-game show. Hopefully the Herd will win, and we don't have to worry too much about everybody being mad. And I'll tell you now, if you have never tuned in after a loss, it's the best time to tune in because we get a new audience sometimes that are listening to us on the dog, and so we get a lot of people that will tune in maybe after the game. They've stuck around, and they will just unload. Not on me sometimes, but not usually. They will just unload. So if you've never stuck around for a post-game show, and hopefully it's not a loss tomorrow, but if the Herd should happen to lose, it's definitely one you want to tune into because a lot of things are said. Herd fans get it off their chest, and you know what? If you feel better for the rest of the weekend after getting it off your chest, all the better. So we will do it tomorrow after the game. Let's hope it's a quick game and we get on the air quickly and it's a Herd victory. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.